This podcast can be called the #2 learning channel, where you relearn things you learned in elementary.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
I am not. I am not. You don't use it or lose it. I lost it. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the #2 podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Simi.
And this episode is going to be glorious.
Sure.
Welcome back to the pod. As always, don't forget to subscribe and share with 10 of your friends. This episode, I am joined by @Similion. Check him out on social. He is way cooler than I am. And if you want to support me, it's @Glenncation on all platforms.
Yes. Where they're probably watching this.
On the internet.
On the interwebs. I'm so boring.
Yeah. What's it like to be boring?
Oh, has its ups and downs.
It's lefts and rights.
It's diagonals and parallelograms.
It's easts and wests. What was that shape that was used this week? Octagon. We went to 24 Hour Fitness. We've talked about this before on the podcast. And we were putting our bag away in the locker room, the very controversial locker room at 24 Hour Fitness. And this man, opened his towel, as we were walking up to him, as one does in a locker room, then closes it. And I was like, I'm going to the bathroom.
Glenn, that usually happens when you're in a locker room.
That's what I said.
Men are getting changed.
But it was performative.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so it turns out Simi knows this person, and he's like a world famous fighter man.
He's an MMA fighter.
And the guy didn't recognize you. I think he did.
No, I mean, it's been 10 years since I've seen this person, and he is a UFC fighter. So
yeah,
we've only conversed a couple of times, but I hadn't seen him, I got to say, in over 10 years. And I just said, what's up? And give him props.
But you know him from the gym.
Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, are you still fighting? And he just asked me, he's like, oh, are you talking about the octagon?
The octagon. Where is the octagon?
And yeah.
So for the listeners of this podcast, there's an octagon out there, which is how many sides on an octagon?
8.
They couldn't. It's because what is boxing? There's 4 sides. Wrestling is 4 sides. So some marketer was like, if we double the amount of sides.
He said he was retired for 7 years. So it's been over 10 years that I haven't seen him. So are all octagons, and by octagon, the cage where they fight, are they all legit octagons, or is it just a circle cage and they just call it the octagon?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm just rediscovering
MMA fighters.
What's a 7-sided object? A septagon?
That's really none of your business.
In what grade do you learn shapes?
It's a good question.
I know you learn
I think the regular shapes you learn in elementary school, and I think I learned
circle,
the harder
square,
ones in grade school.
Triangle are the 3 basic ones.
Because in grade school you have to do the what do you call them? The tangrams.
But tangrams are
the puzzles.
Are those regular shapes, or they're obtuse? What's the opposite of obtuse? All right, this podcast can be called the #2 learning channel, where you relearn things you learned in elementary.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
I am not. You don't use it or lose it. I lost it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Because
gone.
I've been asking you how to spell a lot of things lately. I can't spell anymore.
Cantaloupe. No idea. And I don't buy cantaloupe, so why would I? When in everyday adult life would I be spelling it?
But you know what's funny is when I'm typing it, I can't really spell it. But if I'm writing it, handwriting it, I could spell it fine.
Because you can sound it out.
No, it's not even about sounding it out. I think the brain to the hand is different than writing than it is typing. Because typing, I'm
typing is wait
not
a
making
second
sense
here.
But if I was to write it out, I think I spell it better.
That makes sense.
Does it?
I mean, kids these days are doomed because they don't even teach cursive. How embarrassing.
They teach you how to sing in cursive nowadays, though.
That's true. Sing in cursive.
You
do it.
I don't know how to do it. I would just shock the aunts.
That was great cursive. That's
how about
excellent.
You do it now?
I can't do it.
Ready and go.
The thing that was most confusing
that is not cursive
about elementary school was the difference between...
You went to a really fancy elementary school.
Knoll Hills Elementary. They tore it down. and built houses.
Shut them down.
Shut them down. Shout out Miss Dozier. What's up, Miss Dozier?
Miss Dozier, she done dozed.
She was my kindergarten teacher. She lived down the street from us. What's the difference between regular paper? Do they still use paper? And remember, there's like regular and college ruled, and it was like
in construction where they
thinner?
made it on a construction site.
Is that why it's called construction
Just
paper?
I don't know why they call it construction paper.
But do they still use paper?
Probably because you construct things with it.
Yeah. You like cut out shapes. You like do turkey hands. You forget about these things. The other thing I was thinking about the other day is when we went to the craft store is pipe cleaners. Those are like a huge thing in elementary school. You could twist them, create animals.
Did you have really good teachers growing up in elementary school?
Yes. I mean, I've never been more poor and like not successful. And I went to college. So no, you're all bad teachers because look at me now. I thought they were really good teachers. I think they were. I think my comprehension was the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
My teachers called me, what was the word? I don't even know the word now. It's too big for me, even as an adult. Articulate.
You are very articulate.
As a child.
Always have been.
Autistic, more like.
No.
But yeah, I started school in Germany.
Germany.
Oh my God, I'm remembering all these like stories now.
Tell us a story.
No more stories. But I started school in Germany because I was an army brat. My dad was in the military, and we were stationed in Wiesbaden. And my kindergarten teacher was from hell.
What was the trauma?
She was just like
very strict,
very nice when the parents left. Like she was just basically she was a Nazi. And
you can't say that.
She was. I mean, she like if you broke a crayon on accident, like she would yell at you and
send you to the chokey.
She'd be like, "Lick me shamash." No, I'm just kidding. She wouldn't be like that. But it was like pretty. I mean, traumatizing for a kindergartner,
the fact that you
a
remember
5-year-old.
Yeah.
The fact that she would make you like sit there with your head down. And I don't know. It was and you felt worried to ask her a question. I just remember that in elementary school.
I just always remember they used to say there are no dumb questions, but almost every question ever asked in school was a dumb question.
In elementary school, yeah.
Even past that, because usually it had already been answered by the teacher.
Yeah.
You're like, no, they already said, why are you asking this question? You should have been paying attention. Like
the rest of my teachers, I feel like were all pretty decent. It's just that one that I remember.
That's crazy. A memory that just came up from my youth. One of the big field trips in Kansas, where I grew up, was to go to what is called the Lanesfield Schoolhouse, which is straight up. You like drive a school bus out into the cornfields, and they have a one-room schoolhouse. This is a field trip that they're doing. Somebody paid for it. I don't know. The taxpayers, the parents. And you would simulate what it was like to go to like a one-room schoolhouse. And there was an actor that worked there. Like, and looking back, she must have been in her like early 20s. Now that I think about it, like, which is very weird to think about. A very good actor, and she would be like super strict, like they were back in the day. And you like couldn't talk, and you had to like do your lessons, or she'd like call you to the front, and you'd have to like do your math without a calculator.
Did you have to wear like a dunce cap?
She didn't have a dunce cap, but she had like the thing where she'd like hit the thing and scare you. And my mom, who was always the chaperone on the field trip, was giggling too much. And to make an example out of her,
not the mom.
I'm not joking. She was giggling too much with the other moms. They kicked my mom out, like to make an example. And like this woman was like in character the whole time. So they kicked my mom out, and I was so embarrassed, whatever. So then you have to like finish the thing. And then instead of going outside of the one-room schoolhouse and just, I don't know, waiting by the bus or helping prepare the lunches or whatever was next for this horrendous day that children should not have suffered through, my mom is outside peeking her head through the windows. I don't know what she was doing. And then like everybody's like laughing. And this poor like actress woman is trying to like stay in character and discipline everybody. I mean, it was astronomical.
I can just imagine your mom just like,
it was insane. It was insane that we even had to go on that field trip, but it was scary, and it really made you appreciate like your teachers.
My mom got yelled at not yelled at, shushed at one time at an audition. So it was my very first dance audition.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know what an 8 count was. I knew how to dance. I just didn't know what an 8 count was. So
you didn't have the formal training.
I didn't have the formal training.
You knew how to count to 8. You just didn't know.
Yeah. So like they started counting in this audition. I'm like, just do the moves. So I went in, I bombed it, obviously.
No.
Tried as best as I could. And then at the end, they were like, all right, now freestyle. And I was like, it's my time to shine. So then I just freestyled. The audition was over. They were going to call the names. And the person who was running the audition said, if your name is called, because, you know, they don't want other kids at that time to feel bad that they didn't make it.
Yeah.
So they didn't want anybody clapping or cheering for people who made it, just so the people who didn't make it didn't feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I told my mom, I was like, yo, I bombed it. I'm not going to make it. It's fine. Like, at least we tried. And my mom was like, my mom's British. I can't do a British accent, but she'd be like, Sammy, shut up. Like, you're going to get it. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to get it. Like, it's just not going to happen. She's like, it's going to happen. You're going to get it. And I'm listening to the numbers. Nobody claps. And then all of a sudden, they call my number and my mom goes, see? And then everybody just looks at my mom and goes, shh. And mom's like, oh.
So funny.
But that's the one time I remember my mom kind of being reprimanded in public.
That's amazing.
She was so mad at me. But yeah.
Oh, Mandy.
Oh, Mandy.
That's wild. Anyway, first topic on this episode of the Number 2 podcast is going to be, did you hear the stock market crashed? How is that affecting you?
Oh, my stock market crashed a long time ago.
Long time ago. It's pretty crazy to think about. It's like, oh no, the rich people are not as rich. Like,
I'm sure they'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be that.
Oh, they'll be fine. Like,
yeah, I mean, it goes up and down all the time. I heard that like it's not at the lowest it's been, you know. So I'm sure things like tanked over the weekend, but we'll see how things pan out. What are some of the weird things that you did in like elementary?
Oh, we're going back. The weirdest thing I can think about me doing during elementary school is 2 things. One, I did wet my pants one time.
Relatable.
Couldn't hold it. But there are a lot of rules and regulations on leaving the classroom to pee.
So many rules.
It's very unfair and wrong. Children cannot control their bowels, so why should there be so many rules? So I did it. And then obviously I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And I went and tried to create a paper towel situation, which did nothing but fill my pants with paper towels. And then I went the rest of the day with paper towels in my pants. And then I remember I went home and I was like, I wet my pants. The other weird thing I remember from elementary school is having like a weird obsession with glue. Like I used to always take glue, white glue. My mom would never buy me glitter glue. That was for the rich children. But I would like pour it into my desk, like the inside, not the top, the inside. And I'd let it harden throughout the day. And then you'd peel it off. And it gave me great pleasure.
I would do that on my hands.
Okay, that's weird. On your hands?
Yeah, you have glue on your hands and you just peel it off your hands.
No, never did that.
I just like to dance in school. I grew up in like
in what context?
The 90s though, so it was like very much like,
you know, I grew up in the 90s too.
I know.
And we weren't having dance battles.
Oh my god. Oh, New Jack style. It was.
And what is the New Jack style?
It was like the Running Man, the Roger Rabbit, the
Hicklety Picklety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the dances had names back then. The MC Hammer, the Vanilla Ice.
And only certain people could do these moves. And that advanced your social situation?
No, that wasn't the weird thing. The weird thing is I started a Power Ranger group.
Oh, I've heard this story. Tell us more about the infamous Power Rangers.
Well,
it's a good story. I mean,
well, let me tell you.
It's the basis of like a movie, a kid's movie.
No, it was like horrible because I don't know why I started clubs all the time. I think I was just like a leader in elementary school.
Clubs were huge in elementary school. Like we were encouraged to start lots of clubs.
But, you know, I was like the Green Ranger and, you know, we formed the Power Rangers and there was like 5 of us and like other kids were jealous that they weren't a Power Ranger, you know? Anyway, at one point I got kicked out of the Power Rangers.
Dismissed.
Dismissed.
Not qualified to be in the Power Ranger Club.
I was demoted. I was laid off.
It was not Morphin time.
It was anyway.
Mighty Morphin, move on.
Morph into a new group.
Morph. It's not Morphin time. It's Morphin time to go.
So I was dismissed because this one girl said that I roughhouse too much.
Stop.
Girl, we're playing Power Rangers. There's karate that's involved. I don't know if you watched this, but we got to get the putties.
Not the putties.
It's like Kimberly.
So who was
Tommy? The putties.
the putties, Tommy?
You never guess what I did.
Sabretooth.
And this is what a bratty ass kid I am.
What'd you do?
I started my own Power Rangers, a separate Power Rangers that was like better and cooler.
Like on the other side of the playground?
Yeah. With other people.
Like, we're going to be over here by the baseball.
So I just started another group of Power Rangers and I said, well, what's up? Let's battle.
And that began your long history of
I feel like that's
being an entrepreneur.
I feel like that's my evil origin story.
It is. Who's the villain in Power Rangers? I've hunted Rita Repulsa. I've killed Rangers before. What are the Power Rangers? It's just unitards, right?
It's really none of your business.
It always scared me because they're action figures. Remember how like the head, there's like the button on the back and the head would go into their chest and then the real head would come out?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Because you're Morphin. Hello.
Yeah, but like anatomically, that's not what's happening in the show. But on the figure,
yeah,
it's a little disturbing.
That was one of my favorite toys. I don't know what you're talking about. That and Ninja Turtles.
Do kids still play with toys?
I hope so.
I don't think they do because all the toys I've seen, America has lost it because all the toys I've seen our nieces play with are like jobs. They're like, I mean, I was visiting my niece today and she was like obsessed with this toy and it couldn't have been cuter, but it was a full occupation. It was like a pizza stand and there was prices like, and she was trying to upsell us the pineapple pizza. Like, I'm not kidding you. It was the most expensive one. And it had like the little vegetables. It had magnetic olives.
I'll see.
There was money.
I'll see Instagram post of my sister and her daughter, and she has like a full dish set that she washes the dishes with. And then she has, I think you've seen them too. What else?
I saw the gardening one. It's like how to become a gardener.
Put these kids to work.
Like kids don't have toys anymore. They have full occupations.
I feel like that's why my parents
career certificates as an infant.
I feel like that's why my parents had kids because growing up, my mom would be like, "Simi, pass me the remote over there. Simi, make me a cup of tea. Simi." You know, like
those
did
are
things.
Chores, but that's not like
those aren't chores.
That's not like open up a cupcake shop in the back and make sure it's profitable and log everything in QuickBooks. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what toys have come to.
These kids are smart,
which is fine. But like, what about imagination?
Yo, I had a huge imagination growing up. I had all my action figures. They didn't match because it was like Thundercats here. It was like G.I. Joe's here, like all different sorts. And yeah, I had a pretty vast imagination. And during Christmas was the best because then you take all your action figures and you go around the tree and you pretend like the tree is the forest.
I spent a lot of time outside as a kid. Do you know what I would do?
What?
Somehow I had my mother's mixing bowls. And I would
mud pies.
No. And I would collect different textiles from nature. So like from like the fern tree and then from the bushes and like the little flower petals, and I'd mix it together into a potion.
I saw Glenn doing witchcraft
for hours. I had no friends. Then I'd go on the trampoline and cast my spell. No one would hang out with me. It was horrible.
You're just like the weird little boy in the corner.
Yeah. You had to be good at athletics to have friends. I couldn't do it. I was scared. I was scared of the tetherball. I was scared of Jenna Anderson. She was so violent at tetherball.
Jenna Anderson?
Tetherball.
Oh, that was my sister.
So scary.
My sister was the like biggest tomboy. And if anybody messed with me on the playground, I'm like, I'm getting my sister. and they would like run. But my sister would like, she wouldn't even have her shirt on anymore. She had the undershirt that was like a wife lover. And yeah, she would
I'm
just,
not familiar. What's the history of that garment?
yeah, she would just be in her little tank top, and she had her hair up in her ponytail, and she'd be like killing everybody on the playground with the tether ball, just like beating them left and right. And there was like a line just lined up just to try to beat my sister, and nobody could beat her. But yeah,
Tetherball is a violent game.
imagine going up to your sister though because somebody like picked on you, and she's like in the middle of her tetherball game, and you're like, Moana, somebody called me something, and she stops her tetherball game in her tank top with her like tomboy ponytail.
That's mortifying.
And walks you over to who picked on you.
No,
That was my sister.
it's insane. You know, they really make you think you're going to play tetherball your whole life. And I find as an adult,
I see no tetherballs
I see
anywhere.
no tetherball. There's no tethers. There's balls, but there's no tethers. There's no poles.
What is a tether?
Where did the tetherball market go? Like, that seems like an untapped market. Like, pickleball is back. It feels like tetherball should be back.
I feel like if I have kids and one's a boy, one's a girl, it's going to be Heather and Tether.
Come here, Heather and Tether. No, you're not doing that.
Oh, you just like call him Teddy for short.
Well, that's a good nickname, I guess. So crazy.
Another thing about the kindergarten Germany
Germany.
yes, is I would get lost all the time after school because I had to take a bus back, and I always got on the wrong bus. Now, mind you, the buses were coordinated. So one had like an apple on it, and then the other one had like a rabbit, right? I was supposed to be on the apple bus, but my friends would always get on the rabbit bus. So I would head with my friends and just hop on the apple bus or the rabbit bus with them. And then at the end of the route, the bus driver would come up to me and be like, "Where do you live?" And I would look him dead in his eyes without missing a beat. And I'd be like, "Germany." And he'd be like, "No, I know we're in Germany." He's like, "But like, where do you live? Like, where am I dropping you off?" And I looked at him in his eyes again, but just with like, "Are you dumb? Germany." And he's like, "No, I know we're in Germany." And then I'd be like, "We're in Germany." And then he was like, "Never mind." And then he would just drive around until like I found where I was. I'm like, "Oh, there I live." And then he'd be like, oh, "Okay." To the point where my mom was so worried because like I didn't come home till like later. She's like, "Where were you?" Blah, blah, blah. And I told her the story. She started laughing. She started putting little, the sticky, what are they called?
Post-it?
Like posted, like, but there were
like a name tag.
A name tag. She would put a name tag, but then the name tag would have my name and then would have my actual address. And I would be at school all day with just my address written on my clothing.
Germany.
And so it would happen again. I'd get on the bus. He'd ask me where I live. And then I'd like go like this and like, "Germany," like so serious in his eyes. And then he'd like look at it and be like, "Okay." And then just like walk off. And then I'd get home.
This poor bus driver.
Poor bus driver. The dumbest child you could ever know.
Didn't want to get on the Apple bus. Wanted to be with your friends.
That damn rabbit bus.
That's so funny.
Germany.
Absolutely not.
Another weird thing when you're younger. Go.
Me? Another weird thing that happened when I was younger was when my parents would let us be on the trampoline in the backyard, and we would take long blankets out, and you would systematically roll yourself into the blanket so you were a mermaid. And then my mom would be like, "Are you guys going to sleep outside on the trampoline?" And we'd be like, "Yeah, and we're mermaids."
Didn't your mom make kids like sign contracts or something?
Oh, we were the first family with a trampoline on our block, and my mom made the children sign liability waivers. She was very early.
Or take it to their parents, right? To sign the
She would make them
waiver?
write like a signed note. Yeah. Because she didn't want like, broken foot, leg, ankle. It was very smart.
Your mom was very smart. It still is very smart.
Yeah. But joke is on her because I didn't have any friends. All my friends were nerds. I was a crazy kid. I didn't have any friends basically. My mom had tons of friends. She was like friends with all the popular kids. Yeah, like PTA moms, but she, like all the popular kids' moms were involved. So she was friends with all the parents. So their kids would like kind of be nice to me, but they weren't friends with me. But I remember like as I got older, I would have to plan my birthday parties and like I didn't have any friends. So it wasn't like we're going to Sid's to go, play baseball or whatever, like, for the birthday party or whatever. Like we weren't doing that. And I was really into laser tag. So I was a little theatrical as a child. So I have a lot of weird birthdays, like, but I'll go into one for you right now, unnecessarily. This is a story for a different day, but for no particular reason, I had an industrial strength fog machine that I conned my parents into buying me. If you don't know what a fog machine is, it's a machine that makes fog.
Wait, did you get it from like Spencer's or something? One of those
no.
weird like stores.
This was like a professional, like Guitar Center or above, like for like a DJ. It was like for a haunted house. So anyway, I had this fog machine, whatever, and I had like planned to use it to do laser tag for my birthday party, but nobody showed up, so it was not good. So anyway, one day I was just like home by myself with my sisters, so basically by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna fill the entire basement with fog and play laser tag because I had one of those like cheapy ones that you get from Kmart.
Yeah.
So we just like closed the upstairs. There's basements in Kansas. And I turned on the fog machine like on overdrive and I pumped it for like 2 hours basically and filled the entire basement with fog. And it was cool. Like, but it was coming out of the basement windows like the house was on fire. So they called 911 and the fire department came. And I was like, no, we're playing laser tag.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was one of many times the police got called to our house. Most of the other times I was chasing my sisters around with knives.
Oh God. I once threw something at my sister and she had to wear like a sling on her to school.
What did you throw at her?
I don't know. It was just like I threw it from across the room. It hit her like elbow and then did something to it to where she had to wear a sling. And we went to school the next day and everybody said, "What did you do to your sister?" And
she had to wear a sling by choice?
Well, she was like the popular
doctor told
in
her
school,
to.
so all her popular friends came up to me and was like, "What did you do to your sister?" And I was like, "That's really none of your business."
That's really none of your business.
When I was really young as well, and I'm like, I was a dumb kid. I think I was like 4, but I still remember this because I couldn't have been 5. I think I was smarter at 5, but just like at 4, dumb as dirt. But what I did was, for some reason, I climbed up on top of this car, and I was just on top of this car, and the person whose car it was lived in this house like across the street, and they came out like raging, like, "Get off my car, blah, 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 blah." And then I remember getting off the car, and then I just started walking, and I believed that I was invisible.
Oh, wow.
Like they couldn't see me, but they could see me, obviously. And I was just like walking around though as if I was invisible. But I remember specifically thinking like, turn invisible. And then I just walked like so confidently afterwards because they couldn't see me.
And they never did. I wish I had
and I
that
was never
power.
seen again.
You had so many powers.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like I told you, I had a huge imagination and I still do. So watch out.
Terrifying. Anyway, all right. Well, this has been another topical episode of the Number 2 Pod. If you liked this episode, give us 5 stars or a like or whatever platform you're on. I'm sure there's some data point you can provide.
Let us know in the comments, which Power Ranger were you?
Blue.
You definitely were the blue Power Ranger.
Red.
I'm the green Power Ranger. Thank you very much.
This has been another episode. I don't know what I said earlier. This has been another episode of the Number 2 Pod. Thank you for listening. As always, new episodes are dropping Mondays and Fridays. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Love ya.